Okay, so let's talk today about what we need to give up in midlife and perimenopause. Now, I want to start off by saying something important. Okay, this is not about shame. Okay, this is what I call a reckoning. And there's a big difference between the two. So your body has been having a conversation with you for a very long time, and it's been sending signals, very subtle at first, and it's very easy to have dismissed these signals. You know, you get a little bloating after dinner, maybe you get a little farty, all right? Get a little burpy, and maybe you're a little more sluggish than you used to be after having wine. Maybe you get a little headache after certain foods, or maybe there's some kind of anxiety that you've learned to live with, right? Basically, you managed, you pushed through because you could. But perimenopause is the moment your body decides that it's done waiting for you to listen voluntarily. All right. So the brain fog, mood swings, hair loss, the breakouts, anxiety, that weight that you can't lose, the joint pain that came from out of nowhere. These are not actually new problems. They are the old problems that your body has been holding on to very patiently, waiting for you to be ready to address them. Perimenopause came along and turned up the volume until you could no longer afford to ignore it. So this is not a punishment, my friend. It is a reckoning. Now, before I go any further, I want to be very clear. This reckoning is not an indictment of how you've been living. It's not your body saying you were wrong or negligent or bad. All right? I don't want you to think about it this way. Just imagine your partner came to you one day and said very honestly and very lovingly that the birthday gifts you have been giving him for 20 years have never really been what he wanted. Okay, he appreciated the thought, he loved that you tried, but now he's telling you the truth because he loves you and wants something real between you two, and he wants better gifts, okay? You would not divorce him for telling you, or if you would, that's going to be on you. That's going to be your loss, all right? If you loved him and you had good sense, you would listen and you would adjust. And you would feel grateful that he trusted you enough to tell you the truth. Well, your body is doing the same thing. It's finally telling you the truth very clearly, undeniably, because you feel it in your bones, right? And the wise response to this is not going to be shame, all right? The wise response would be gratitude, adjustment, and the willingness to do things differently going forward. So, what are some of the things you need to give up? Well, let's talk about food and inflammation because that's the thing that's number one on my mind. The most immediate and physical reckoning is going to come around food. And a significant portion of the symptoms that women experience in perimenopause, so joint pain, bloating, brain fog, skin issues, weight gain, anxiety, and exhaustion, all of those are symptoms of inflammation. And inflammation is directly connected to what we're putting into our bodies, right? So here's the hard truth. Your body never loved the foods that cause inflammation. You loved them, but your body did not. Your body has been telling you for years. So you would eat some bread and then you would bloat. You would eat sugar and then you would get hyper and then you would collapse. You would drink and then you'd be all foggy the next day. You'd eat dairy and then you'd be like, why am my face all zit? I got these pimples, right? You were able to get away with it because your body was younger and it was more resilient and it could compensate. But it can't compensate no more, okay? In perimenopause, your body's tolerance for inflammatory foods drops dramatically. What you could eat at 35 without consequence now shows up as joint pain, weight gain, digestive chaos, and exhaustion. This is not your body betraying you. That's what I thought. I thought it was my body betraying me, okay? But this is your body finally insisting on what it's always needed. So giving up inflammatory foods is not a punishment. It's an act of love toward the body that has been carrying you faithfully for 5 decades. And here's what most women discover when they make this shift. They feel better than they have in years. And this is very true for me as well. All right, let's talk about another thing that you need to give up. Sexual assumptions. All right, now, this is going to require some honesty and courage, but your body does not respond to sexual stimulation the same way it did in your 30s. We got vaginal dryness, lower libido, longer arousal time, like getting there takes longer. Different sensations. These are really real. It's very common. And, it's not really common for people to talk about them honestly. Many women respond to these changes with some kind of feeling of resignation or shame. And they either decide that this part of their life is just over, or they feel broken because their body is not responding the way that it used to. And, I just don't think that really serves you to give up. Giving up doesn't serve you. What this moment is actually calling you to do, I think, is to take responsibility for your own pleasure and to look at what are the physical conditions that allow your body to relax into pleasure? What are the mental conditions? That's cool, right? The mental conditions. It's a big part of it for us midlife and perimenopausal women. What do you need from your partner? And more importantly, what do you need from yourself? What have you been assuming about your own sexuality that maybe is not true anymore? And on one hand, these are not uncomfortable questions, but they are not comfortable either. But they're essential because, if your pleasure is diminishing, getting smaller and smaller, it will diminish into non-existence. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? It doesn't have to be that way. It's a choice. And perimenopause is asking you to make a different choice. All right? Okay. Now, what else do you need to give up? How about, I'm telling on myself in this one. Financial avoidance. So women are living longer than ever, and a woman who's 50 today may live another 40 years. I really think I'm going to live till I'm 99, at least. So the financial decisions you make in the next decade are going to determine the quality of the next 40 years. If you're doing what I have done most of my life, and I don't do it anymore, but if you've done that, which is financial avoidance, you could have gotten away with financial avoidance in your 30s, but in your 40s, it's not sustainable. And if you're in your 50s, y'all need to stop that stuff right now. So I'm not saying that you need to work harder. Notice that, all right? You're already exhausted, but you do need to work smarter. So you need to make smarter strategic financial decisions, and you need to make those decisions from a place of clarity and self-respect. So for me, building multiple income streams is really important. And I was getting teased because I just got monetized on Facebook, and my friends were like, so how much money did you make yesterday? And I was like, 12 cents. And they're like, okay, Crystalline. And I'm like, 12 cents today. Give me a year from now. I'm going to show you what I'm making. And I already know, because I've already working on it. My point is that building income streams, multiple income streams that are aligned with your wisdom and your purpose, rather than just your capacity to show up and grind, is the smart way to do this, okay? It's not about working harder. The financial reckoning of perimenopause is an invitation. It's an invitation to take your own economic sovereignty as seriously as you have taken everything for everybody else. All right. Here's another thing I want you to give up in perimenopause. I want you to give up contraction. I don't want you to think anymore that getting older means getting smaller. We've all seen it, right? The way some people they contract as they age. They become more rigid, more fearful, more resistant to change. They become more fixed in their opinions and their habits and in their ways of seeing the world, right? We see it and we judge it, and then we do it ourselves without realizing it. So perimenopause is asking you to choose the opposite, to expand instead of contract, to develop instead of decline, and to become more open-hearted, more flexible, more curious, to become more willing to change than you have ever been before. This is not a spiritual idea, my friend. It's a physiological one. The mind and the body that keep expanding, right? That keep learning, questioning, growing, adapting. Those are the qualities that keep you younger, more flexible, more vital, and more alive. Contraction is what makes people old. Expansion is the fountain of youth. So what this means for you is that the reckoning of perimenopause is not asking you to shame yourself or for how you've lived, okay? I think this is really important because there are a lot of people out there who will use this as an opportunity to contract even more, okay? What I'm asking you to do, okay, with this idea of the midlife reckoning, I'm asking you to listen to what your body has already been trying to tell you. And I want you to choose from wisdom and love rather than from shame and fear, right? This is a higher dimension of thinking, feeling, and believing. So giving up the inflammatory foods that have been weighing you down, taking responsibility for your own pleasure, taking your financial sovereignty seriously, choosing expansion over contraction, right? You're not a failure, okay? You're not. But perimenopause can make you feel like you're failing, but you're not, all right? It's an opportunity to be better. So if this is interesting to you, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, share it, please. All right, friend, I'll see you later. Bye for now.